Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News, where I share with you headlines from my news feed, along with any thoughts that I might have about those headlines, the articles, the subject matter at large, that I feel like sharing. And that's it. It's just a quick way to kind of get an update on what's the quick headlines of the news. And plus some of my thoughts. But it's not the news, it's just my thoughts on the news. So let us proceed. I'm Angela, and the channel is Be Fabulous You. Yes, baby. Yes. Okay. Lenovo's tough hybrid Chromebooks are built for education. I like tough electronics, these delicate things you can't drop and the screens be breaking and all of that. I done had my phone for years. I done dropped it a gazillion times and it still worked. I don't understand all these broke up screens. How that work? What? Anyway, Amy Sherman Palladino tells women stage directors Broadway is heaven, but some demur. I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm pronouncing it right, because there is a word, D-E-M-U-R-E, demure, like, oh, she's so demure, like she's so ladylike and, poised and polished and gracious and reserved. But this is D-E-M-U-R, and I had to look it up because I'm like, I thought I knew what it meant, and it meant what I thought it meant from the context. But I'm like, I don't know if I'm quite that word. I think I've only seen it in writing, but it means they disagree. Some do not agree with that. They beg to differ. And this woman, Amy Sherman Palladino, looks brown, looks black. So I tried to read the article, but I couldn't get through. It was coming off a deadline, so I don't know. I was having some issue this morning with them. A Michigan man is facing federal charges over threats of a mass shooting at CNN headquarters. I think he's been threatening reporters and stuff, talking about he gonna go to Atlanta and get them. North Korean defector reportedly confessed committing a crime that led to death. But they say that he's confessed to, it says that there are different stories going on. But I guess if he's a confessed criminal, he gets different treatment and has different options than if he's not a criminal in terms of defecting. UN flag no longer offers natural protection to peacekeepers, especially in Africa. I was looking at the UN truck and the UN blue helmet that the people had on, and it's like, I've never seen a UN vehicle in real life. I guess that they reserve the peacekeepers for certain types of environments. Somebody's driving up and down the street really, really slow. Are we at that season? Didn't I say there was a season when people come up and down my street slow? Maybe they're just disoriented, lost, confused. Pornhub branches out into interactive sex toys. So you watching the video, and I guess at certain times it does what yeah. So that's what they doing out here at the Pornhub. Family end 3-month airport stay. 3 months. And I can't remember now where they were from. But they looked Asian to my eyes, but I don't think that they were from like an Asian country. But there had been something where they couldn't go to their country. And it was like a family of like, they were like children. It was like 2 adults and 2 or 3 children, maybe 4 children. But they had to stay at the airport because there was something in terms of them being safe where they were going or where they were trying to go, or their visas were wrong, or I can't even remember now. The Philippines' most active volcano, Mount Mayon, erupts. And this is not the first time I've seen Mount Mayon, so I think that we thought it was going to erupt before, so I guess it actually erupted. I don't think I heard about any casualties yet, if there are going to be any. I don't really know how volcanoes work. Do people die from volcanoes typically? Former Vodacom senior executive named Google Chief Marketing Officer for Africa. And I can't remember his name, but I think it was like Amari. I don't know. I looked it up, and I don't have notes. I just have my phone. So, but this is coming off of Africa Insider. So he looked black to me. Neil Diamond has Parkinson's disease, is canceling shows, and is retiring from touring. Do I know any Neil? I probably know Neil Diamond songs and just don't know it, right? Lebanon rubbish. Storm dumps piles of waste along coast. I guess that they have some, what are these things called where you can, landfills. I guess they have some landfills, and when it periodically, like when there are storms or whatever, the stuff from the landfill wash up on the shore. What's up with that? An avalanche in Japan, likely sparked by volcanic eruption, killed one person and injured 14 more. So rest in peace for the person who we know made their transition, and for their family and communities and friends, and also just peace and healing to the people who were injured and their families and friends and community in the world. An avalanche, are avalanches common? This large, I think of avalanche as something in like ski slopes or something, snowy areas. This large private island in the Bahamas is on sale for $20 million. And it was once home to parties for royals and celebs, hosted by its cross-dressing oil heiress owner. And she looked kind of masculine when I saw her in the picture. I was like, as a woman? But I guess she liked to date women. And she looked, so if you in the market for a private island, only $20,000 in the Bahamas, it's for sale. Oxford University is giving students extra time to finish exams because women are, quote, adversely affected by the pressure. They said when they started adding extra time to the exams, the women did better. A major coastal city is set to run out of water, and day zero is approaching faster than anyone predicted. This is South Africa, Cape Town, running out of water. I don't know why in these headlines they don't say, Cape Town. They just say a major coastal city. Maybe they figure, I don't know. But anyway, it's Cape Town in South Africa. New Zealand Maori wins first Indigenous football internationals. The 10 safest countries in the world for women. And they say places that are safe for women are also safe for business. And then also they were talking about something, how they track high net worth individuals. It was some 4-letter acronym or whatever or not acronym, but these 4 letters that represent, I think it was high net worth individuals. Yeah, so they track them, and somehow that was connected to the article too. Germany schools attack. Pupil killed by classmate near Dortmund. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Rest in peace for the child who was killed and for their family and community. And to have a child in school killing another child, that's like traumatic for everybody. So just peace for all of us and all of them. Hugh Masekela, trumpeter and anti-apartheid activist, dies at 78. So rest in power, Baba Hugh. Before I saw his name written, I always thought it was Huma was his name, and then Sekela was the last name. So it's Hugh Masekela, but I always say Hugh Masekela. But anyway, he made his transition at 78 years old. Now, Jane Fonda is 80 and Bill Cosby is 80. I saw them on the TV today. So he was 78. He was a little bit younger than them, but they're contemporaries. But why did he pass? 78. I was thinking 78 seems relatively young to be making your transition, but thanks for your service and for your work. Do I know any Hugh Masekela songs? After racism allegations, NASA faces demands to reinstate black astronaut. So there was, I guess, a black woman who was supposed to be on a mission 5657, and then there was another woman whose name looks Latina, but she was supposed to be on mission 5859 or whatever. And now they took the woman that was supposed to be on 5859 and put her on the black woman's mission. But the black woman, she didn't get put on the other woman's mission. She just got like desk duty or whatever. And her brother is like, they done took her off and put a white woman on, and it's racism. So I don't know what's going on, over there. But they getting demands to reinstate the woman. Alaska tsunami fears prompt evacuation. Avalanche and volcano hit Japan's Kasatsu ski resort. How get out of free jail cards work. Alibaba said it would hire staff older than 60. I think they had 2 positions, and they received 1,000 applications in 24 hours. India switched at birth babies who refused to swap back. They were switched at birth, and they like, I'm cool where I am. I like these people. Now, I don't know if I would want to go back or not, but I'm like, I would want to know who my birth people were. Like, I don't know. But they like, we cool. I didn't read the article. Kenya's backpack midwife bringing health care for all. Wake Forest student calls black resident assistant NIGGER and is no longer enrolled at the school. These people are just out here wilding out. They young, and it's a lot of young ones out here wilding out. Y'all notice that, right? Why some Sudanese back lecturer who beat students. Oh, some back the lecturer who beat the students. Like, I think it was a women's school, and I thought it was the principal or the headmaster, or a girls' school, was like beating students, and some Sudanese are like, well, we cool with that. I don't know, but that's this article is going to explain to you why some of these people back them. The first 512 gigabyte micro SD card arrives in February. I was like, ooh, I should get me one for my tablet. Hey, I'm taping on my tablet, and I got one video out. I got the message yesterday saying, if you'd like to clear up, so many gigs of space, hit this button. Like I told y'all, I got on my other tablet, and then after that, I didn't have no problem. I finally got it on this tablet. So now my space is freed up. But I was like, ooh, I should get me a 512 gigabyte micro SD card for my tablet. But they say the other one that's smaller than that one is $240. I'm like, oh, I ain't spending no $240 for no card. I'm not doing nothing all that serious. It's not that serious over here. But anyway, this is a big deal for the technologically advanced and others, I guess. CNN, TBS sued for racial discrimination by former employee. We work harder and longer. That's what the black folks said. It's an expression that black folks have and some women have, but definitely black folks have. You got to work twice as long to get half as much. You got to work twice as hard to get half as much. That's all they saying. We work twice as hard and we don't get as much. Acclaimed Long Wharf Theater assistant director given leave in wake of harassment allegations. I was watching this story on a show today, and there were like these 3 male models, and they were talking about an incident that they had with two of them talked about an incident that they had with a famous photographer, I guess. I didn't recognize his name, but one of them was like, he was like, well, where do you feel the energy? Do you feel the energy here? Put my hand where you feel the energy. And the model said that he put his hand on his arm and on his shoulder. And, then the photographer was like putting his hand, I guess, on his penis. He didn't say that, but that's the implication. He started putting it more intimate in intimate places. And that, that was his story, or that's what I called of his story. And then there was a young black model who said that he was doing something for, not FUBU, because I saw the guy from FUBU with his white wife, for us, by us, his white appearing wife or white appearing fiance, girlfriend, whatever, long-term partner. Not FUBU, Sean John. He was doing a shoot for Sean John, and he said that, he got a call saying that this photographer wanted to shoot with him, and Sean John was like, ooh, that's a big deal going over there. And so he said he went over there, and the man was like, well, show me where the energy is. Is the energy here? Is the energy there? And that, he said he was comfortable with his body. So he, the man was touching him different places. And when he felt uncomfortable, he's like, oh, well, I have to go back to my Sean John shoot. I was shooting for Sean John, so I'm going to go on back over there. And then he called his agency and told them basically what happened. And they're like, well, you should have gone further. You should have done more. Systemic. And a lot of these places are like, oh, we didn't know anything. And the person who they're accusing is like, I didn't do anything. I did breathing exercises or, whatever. But I think that people who are in positions of power a lot of times feel that they do whatever feel that they can get. I guess a lot of people do whatever they feel that they can get away with. And I think I've said this before. I think that our spiritual development and our moral development as a society is relatively weak or low. We're like low on like we might be, spiritually 2 years old or emotionally 4 years old or, more morally, 8 years old in terms of our ability to like do the right thing even when no one is watching, do the right thing even when we could do the wrong thing. Like I think that a lot of us, given the opportunity, people like there's this idea that, basically, when you become like a famous man, you have more options. And so that's why they have sex with different women. So that's why they can't be faithful, because they have so many more options. But I think that's like an indication of spiritual and moral, lack of development. Like we're not mature. And I think as a society, like if someone is in a position of power, for the most part, or many, many people, I don't know if it's for the most part or what percentage, but I think that there are a lot of people who, given the opportunity, do all kinds of things that, if we found, if it became public, would not really be looked at as, we wouldn't look at them with admiration. Hong Kong bookseller seized from China train. The Dublin hotel that snubbed a social media influencer has billed her 4.6 million is that pounds, in publicity fees. I think the person wrote an anonymous letter saying this social media influencer, sent me this letter saying that they wanted to, come to the hotel and stay free, and in exchange they would give us publicity. But is their publicity going to pay the people who fix their food? Is their publicity going to pay the people who clean their sheets? I'm not for it. Now, I don't think the hotel owner outed the person at that time, but the person said that they felt humiliated and bullied and outed, and so they outed themselves. But anyway, U.S. gymnastics resignations over sex abuse, and they still are taking testimony from people who have been abused by Larry Nassar, is that his name, here in Michigan, who dealt with very high level Olympians or Olympic level athletes, and also I guess other athletes, and he would put his fingers in the vaginas of young girls, of little people, young people, women, whatever, without permission, taking advantage of his position of power. And it's just like, wow, it's like, still, are we 2 days in, 3 days in, 5 days into these testimonies of just person after person after person whose life has been changed, and not for the positive, by his decision. I guess there are some people out here who are, who could get days and days and days of testimony of people whose lives that they've changed for the positive. But it's just kind of like disturbing to hear, just person after person after person wants to get up and talk about how this person hurt them. Like, wow, like, and how do you feel, you out here in the world just hurting person after person after person after person? I mean, that's deep. That's disgusting. That's awful. That's like crazy. I really want to be the kind of person who you could have days and, when I make my transition, that there's just weeks and weeks and months and years of just testimony to the ways in which I made a positive impact on the world and on people's lives in big ways and in small ways. And I wish that for all of us, Montana is the first state to enact its own net neutrality rules. Dutch police are confiscating clothing deemed too expensive if you're poor. Now, how do they know that somebody didn't give it to you? How do they know? How can they tell you're poor? Are you supposed to walk around with your financial statement on you? I mean, that sounds like some jacked up profiling. An oil spill off China's coast is the world's biggest since Deepwater Horizon, and it more than tripled in size over the weekend. I think these boats had crashed and one was burning, and now I guess it's it hadn't become officially a crisis, but it was like a crisis in the making that people were watching. So I guess, and I think Deepwater Horizon is when I was living in Mississippi and not too far from the coast, because I had made plans to go to this island off the coast of Mississippi. I can't even remember the name of it. And then there was that big spill, and then it was like, you didn't even, when you went to the coast, it was like, ew. I mean, it just smelled different. It looked different. It was like, I think that's the Deepwater Horizon thing. In and out employees can work their way up to $160,000 a year with no degree or previous experience. Researchers are worried that a brain illness known as zombie deer disease may start infecting humans. Recreational marijuana is now legal in Vermont. Descendants of slaves sold by Georgetown University say they want reparations now. Chinese staff paid in bricks to top up unpaid wages. I don't have enough money to pay you, so I'm going to give you 100 bricks. Okay. We got to barter, then I got to carry around heavy bricks and try to barter. Amazon slammed after releasing pro-slavery clothes for children. I think I'm trying to remember. I saw one of the quotes, but now I can't think of what it was. The pyramids wouldn't have been, slave labor is good for building pyramids or some junk. And that's it. I've looped back around. It's 21 minutes after the hour, or 21 minutes in. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Thank you so much for clicking on the video and sticking around to hear my notes on the news. Today is the best day ever. You are the greatest. Whether you're a subscriber or not a subscriber, new subscriber, old subscriber, new watcher, old watcher, you're the #1 stunner. So be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. And like, comment, share, subscribe. You know, all that other stuff. Peace, baby.